So the space suits and especially the space gloves, when they're inflated to provide the internal pressure that the astronauts need to breathe, and Charlie is probably better suited to talking this than I am, they do become stiff. They do contribute to the workloads and the physical endurance that the astronauts need to achieve to be able to work in space. A lot of the tools are redesigned so that it minimizes the amount of flexuring that's required of the fingers of the gloves, so that the tool does most of the work, and the astronaut just basically has to keep the tool in position by holding it as firm as possible with the least amount of work. Uh, in terms of feedback technology, is certainly, um, if you've got some actuator that's helping with the workloads to flex the material so that it reduces the amount of um, physical endurance on the astronaut to have to overcome some stiffness or something in the fabrics because of the increased stiffness due to the pressure, then yeah, that might work out. Uh, I think there's a lot of room for improvements on on the suits, especially, and I'm not don't just mean the Apollo suits or the station suits, but when it comes to Mars and being able to live on Mars, and you have to be in a suit, then there's probably a lot of room for improvement on how that suit is designed to minimize the workloads on the astronaut to get the most productivity out of it. And feedback technology is certainly a way to do it. Where it's just again, it goes back to what's it going to cost you in energy and mass to allow for that capability. But I would think from the standpoint of suits, you might be able to justify it.
Hey, Bob, can I chime in there for a little bit?
Yeah, please go ahead.
The idea of haptic brought back an idea from one of the students, one of our high school students that we had several years ago when we were looking at spacesuit design. First of all, Bob's absolutely correct. The gloves you lose your dexterity, and they're very cumbersome and tough to use and expends a lot of energy and strains your hands and your fingers tremendously. One of the ideas that one of the high school students had, which I think is a very good idea, is why have gloves at all? Why not just have ports at the end of the suited arms, and your hands remain inside the suit, basically fit into a haptic glove, which basically operates a robotic tool on the end of that limb, if you will. And you could potentially change out different tools as needed, robotic tools, to give you the dexterity you need for different job functions, and probably much more precision and force than you could accomplish with your hands even. And so these are some of the things to think about, because you lose dexterity in the gloves. The gloves also have to be joined to the rest of the suit, and so they have to have seals. And so these are very good ideas and things to think about. And I want everyone to remember that, Larry Kuznets and the students at Berkeley, I think we have 40 or so students at Berkeley, are right now finalizing their design for a Mars spacesuit, and they're going to continue that project next year. And so you should be absolutely able to interact with those students from Berkeley and make those suggestions.
And this is just to add to what Charlie said. This is where you get very concerned about dust. Um, So again, anything that you're going to add tool wise to extend the capability of the astronaut and has moving parts, you got to be ready for the dust that could infiltrate it and cause repairs.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Thanks for your both answers. I think that provided some very good information for Tampere. And also we have a follow-up question, if we have time for just quick follow-up question to this. So, like, what is the most likely working mode on Mars? Like doing everything with your own hands or these remote controlling robots?
I think you're going to use uh, tools that some would be automated by robots and some would just uh, be things that you just need to make sure they're set up properly and they have their own mobility. I think, for instance, say you need an auger to not only drill a hole in the ground to be able to strap a habitat or piece of equipment so it doesn't vibrate or whatever, or in the case of the Martian, blow away, or you're just trying to drill for ice. I would expect that those would be teleoperated if the astronauts are already there. If the astronauts are not there and you're trying to stockpile consumables before they ever leave Earth, then that's going to be purely autonomous. And again, the idea is to minimize the workload on the astronauts and have robots and autonomy do most of the work.